For the startup field, I've been specializing on early stage startups and running our accelerator programs in Laurea ES. Maybe an interesting fact about me, I originally was planning to be a graphic designer. I have a degree on graphic designer or like audiovisual communication. So, and I worked for a while and I've been using it very much for my studies in marketing. It's a very big leverage on that field. So I've worked as a freelancer. That's how I got started on entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial stuff. And then I worked my way up to a bigger corporation. So I worked for Microsoft in 2017 and I currently moved away from graphic design and I am now doing event marketing and event coordination, event management, project management, that sort of stuff for a B2B side.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
All right. You have quite a schedule. So.
Oh yeah, I have learned time management the hard way. Let's say I've been close to burnout a couple times, but always managed to come back up. And now I already know when I start to feel tired, so I can prevent myself from having too busy schedule.
All right. I think that's actually one of the reasons for students to join organizations like eCampus or doing some projects within ES or Demola or Pro Academia, that you learn to manage your time, you learn to also take care about yourself, you learn to balance your work and your life and your hobbies.
Yeah, I think the majority of the students still think that the entrepreneurship society is only about entrepreneurship. So if you're not the entrepreneurial type, you cannot join. Or if you don't have a business idea, you cannot join. And
I still think that, so prove me wrong.
So, okay, I will be proving you wrong. So, for example, we try to mainstream like entrepreneurship in our campuses and in our school to promoting that, hey, this is a place for you to learn like real life skills and actually get connected to these startups and get connected to all these entrepreneurial scene workers. And therefore you can find an awesome job opportunities like I did in Microsoft. So that was halfly because of my ES connections. Because what you actually do in an ES, if you are an active, you don't do entrepreneurship. The board runs it as a kind of half a business, even though it's a non-profit association. But you will do and learn marketing, project management, time management skills, and these are all the things that I've been trying to tell people about. Like I do lots of freshman talks, or I used to do. Now I'm working full time, so it's kind of harder to schedule those into my schedule. But I try to tell them that whatever you do during your studies, you should like not just study. Like pick up something, because then when you graduate, you most likely already have a job, or you are in much better situation than others who just studied for 5 years. Or, of course, in applied sciences, it's like 3.5, 4 years still. It gives you leverage when you do something else than just school.
I actually have a feeling that mostly ESs are connected to AMKs rather than traditional universities.
Well, the biggest ones, mostly university ones. So there is Aalto ES, obviously, that's the biggest one. Helsinki Heating Company is the Helsinki University's entrepreneurship society, started only like 5 years ago, and they're thriving their business. They started an EU, they are facilitating multiple different spaces, community spaces, and for example, their health club, I think you also interviewed, is a spin-off of their community. Right. So they're doing very well on the university side. So it's a bit different on the applied sciences side, how entrepreneurship societies work. And it's also very different from Helsinki region to other regions in Finland, because, for example, here in Tampere, you have Tampere ES, which is whole city-wide Tampere, like one ES, one entrepreneurship society for the whole city.
We actually now officially have one university as well. Because,
yes. Yeah, so. But previously you had like all these 3 different, right?
3, yeah.
So there's one entrepreneurship society combining all of those. And this is the case everywhere else except in Helsinki region. In Helsinki region, it's school-based. So there's one in Aalto ES, there's one in Helsinki University, there's us in Laurea, there's Arcada ES, there was a Haaga-Helia ES, but then there started a new one which is called XES. There was a Metropolia ES, and now we are actually we're working very much together with Metropolia, trying to get them started again, because our schools do very much collaboration together. So we are kind of our own group in Helsinki region. And there's Hankin ES, and I hope I'm not forgetting anybody at this point, but I think in the best days there was seven of us going on around on the same time. And everybody has their own target groups inside of the schools and their own focus areas.
Right. So what's yours?
I think Laurea ES specializes in like early stage, like before you start your actual business. And we don't try to reach out to the university students. We are mainly operating in the applied sciences, and we've been doing lots of collaboration with Haaga-Helia and Metropolia, and actually have a couple people from Metropolia on our board. We have had Haaga-Helia people on our board, and then we are working very much together with the other ESs. So we're kind of building a community of 3 schools together, because it's a win-win situation for everybody.
True. Any projects which you are currently running which you would like to talk about?
We have hatching, we have 2 business idea development programs. One that I started in 2007 was a Hatch Incubator program, which is open for students from these applied sciences schools, and it's an 8-week incubator program for anybody who has a business idea. So you only need an idea. That's the catchphrase that we use that you can apply. It's only been running for 2 years, so it's kind of a young incubator, so to say. And our focus group is not only to like, hey, you need to learn these skills of entrepreneurship, but we try to get them connected into the startup scene in Helsinki, and try to make them realize how important self-development is, and we offer them books and all these kind of resources that they can really get into that. Other thing that we just finished is Cambridge Venture Camp, which is also actually tied to our origin and how we got started back in 2007. Cambridge Venture Camp is a 2-week intensive course or accelerator program, 1 week in Finland and 1 week in Cambridge, UK. So that we just finished a couple months ago, and it's usually on the spring, and it's now funded by the 3 universities of applied sciences in the Helsinki region, so Haaga-Helia, Metropolia and Laurea. So those are maybe the biggest projects of worth mentioning for.
Now our listeners have a bit more information about what's going on and maybe can apply.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
How do you choose members for the board and for the main team?
Well, we are open for everybody, so our board is...
more like technical. Do you send an application via website?
I think currently we have like a sign-up link, so you just put your email, your name, which campus are you in, or which school are you in, and where would like to join, what would you be interested in doing, and then we contact you, and some of us of the board goes to have a coffee with you and like interviews a bit more, but that is only because we want to get to know you. So not that like it would be an actual interview process, but we welcome everybody by open hearts. And usually our most active people come from our programs. So we have lots of people from last year's Hatch. We have lots of people from this year's Cambridge Venture Camp who are like, hey, this is something so awesome that I have never seen before. Can I please join? And we're like, of course. Hi. And this is actually a very common question that I get, like, how can I join? And I usually just reach out my hand like, hi, I'm Suvi. I'm the chairman of Laurea ES. Welcome aboard. That is so easy. Like, we don't have an official membership of that kind of, that we measure how many members we have. Of course, you have to be an official member of the association to apply to the board. So, and the board is selected on our yearly fall meeting by a vote.
How big is the board?
This year it's 7 people.
Are they all Finnish or are there any internationals?
Let me count. We have, I think there has been some changes during the spring because people move away and they start full-time jobs. So when we started, we had, like this year, 2 to 4 different nationalities, very many languages. We had Finnish, Swedish people, we have Estonian people, we have one person from with Middle Eastern background. I'm not from Helsinki region originally, even though I'm a Finn, but it was a very diverse mix of people that we got started with. And I think now we have 7 people, and some. I'm trying to very quickly calculate this in my head, but 2 of them are foreign. But all of our operations are in English, so there's
That's the most important.
Yeah,
because I think that for international students or international entrepreneurs, it might be a bit of a problem that there is something interesting, but you're kind of afraid to reach because you're not sure whether your Finnish or Swedish skills are good enough to talk to people. And as far as I remember, Laurea ES is the oldest one in Finland.
Yes, technically. Laurea ES as an official association is not the oldest one. Mm-hmm. I think Laurea ES as a name of Laurea ES, Laurea Entrepreneurship Society RU, goes back to 2010. Mm-hmm. But as I mentioned about Cambridge Venture Camp, that is actually how we got started when a group of students and their teacher organized the entrepreneurship course in Cambridge. Mm-hmm. And this was October-November 2007. While being there, they participated on this event called Enterprise Tuesday, which basically brings entrepreneurs, already established entrepreneurs, to speak to classes in Cambridge for Cambridge University students to hear a little bit different side of the working life, as Cambridge University is a very old university, so entrepreneurship there is not the norm. So that is something that our founders brought to Finland. Mm-hmm. And our first event, Entrepreneurship Tuesday, was organized in February-March 2008. So that is our start. The event itself was a successful and it ended up being an event series for the year 2008. And in the end of 2008, in October, they launched a project called Helsinki Metropolitan Entrepreneurship Academy. I know, it's a mouthful. And operated with that for the next 2 years.
All right.
So until end of 2010, and then they decided it was a project. So it was funded by the government, and they did some great things. I think they received some awards from it. I'm just trying to find so they organized lots of events. They organized over 25 events that year. They were covered in media like Kauppalehti and Myynnin ja Markkinoinnin, and Helsingin Sanomat and all these big news medias for the whole year. And in Finnish it's Lamantappaja-palkinto or Lamankaataja-palkinto, I think, that they received from the Prime Minister of the time, Jyrki Katainen. Mm-hmm. I have a picture of the certificate somewhere. I've seen it for their entrepreneurial activities, because they organized these Entrepreneurship Tuesday events around Uusimaa region. Because Laurea is around Uusimaa region, we have 6 campuses all around. We have 1 in Hyvinkää, Lohja, Porvoo, and then 3 in Helsinki region, 2 in Espoo, and 1 in Vantaa. So it's a very spread out. But they had people like Jone Nikula, and I think they even had Dudes on it at some point. And they had very high profile people there. Here I have the picture of the certificate. Right. You guys won't be seeing, but it
exists.
It exists. So that was I think 2009 they got that.
Right, and this is how the story of ESs in Finland began, basically.
Well, this is one of the stories, yes. And then I think Aalto ES started their activities in late 2008, and they brought some inspiration from Stanford, where they visited, and then Boost Turku started in 2008. So it's one of the 1/3 of the startup entrepreneurial scene for students. Okay. There wasn't really any events before that, and entrepreneurship, I think at the time 2008 was kind of also an unheard thing to promote, because Laurea ES's slogan, our slogan comes from those early times, and our slogan is "We love business." And the story of it was funny because some high-profile teacher called the guys who were doing this and told, this is something that you cannot promote entrepreneurship like this, and ranting all and over again. And they decided to piss him up a bit more by starting a promote business. So we and entrepreneurship. So we love business has been our slogan ever since. And Cambridge Venture Camp is still organized to this day. So starting to plan next spring already.
All right. I was gonna remind our listeners that an interview with the Boost representatives can be heard in the Tribecast Summer Tour series in Turku episode, which is actually the most listenable episode so far. But we are going to continue with the growing numbers. And as far as I know, now ESs of Finland are actually coming to Tampere to talk about whether it's a possibility to enhance their cooperation by creating Finland ES.
Yes, so that's something that has been in works for a couple past years, is do we form an association as a